I love adventures. You know those kind of adventures where you have to sign a paper before you embark that if anything happens to you, say you break a leg or worse, your neck, it is your own fault. And a little over a year ago, I persuaded my fiancée to go on such an adventure together with me. We were going whitewater rafting when traveling together in Peru. But you see, the thing is, she doesn't really like these kind of activities as much as I do. And she doesn't like water, nor swimming. So in fact, she hates adventures that involve any kind of water. But anyway, we find ourselves rushing down the river in a raft. And I am really excited. I remember thinking, this is where the fun begins. So we're going into the first wave. But all of a sudden, I feel this force, and it pulls me out of the raft, and I'm being thrown into 3 degrees cold water. I'm tumbling around for a while, and when I manage to come to my senses, I find myself underwater, struggling to get to the surface. And time sort of slowed down, like it can do in a crisis situations. And I remember thinking, I wonder how my fiancée is doing. You can only imagine my conscience at that point in time. But I managed to pull myself back to reality and fight my way to surface together with the rest of the team. And we managed to flip the raft back on its right keel, climb on board, and continue our adventure downriver. Now, this was quite a shocking experience, but that was also part of our leader's intention. You see, he managed to mold this very diverse and inexperienced rafting team close together and work as a tight working unit. And he managed to install trust between us in a very short period of time. It is a leadership that I've thought a lot about afterwards and also experienced in my professional life. So I invite you all to join me on this adventure down the Peruvian river. Now we're at the starting site and we're about to meet the team. It consists of 6 people plus our leader. And we come from 5 different nations, so we have 5 different cultures with us. And the ages is spanning from the youngest, perhaps 13 or 14, to the oldest in her mid-50s. So we are a truly diverse group, and we have never seen each other before. So we get our gear, put on our wetsuits, our swim vest, and safety helmets, and we're about to head over to the raft. But being such a diverse group, I was a little concerned that eventually, when we were to be tested by the river, would we be able to perform? Not least because our only common language is English, and it's none of the group members' native language. And communication is always key to a successful teamwork. But even more so when it comes to stressful situations, which requires very direct and clear communication. A situation that might perhaps arise on a raft in a storming river. I was also a little worried about the age difference. You know, would the young team be able to paddle fast and strong enough for the full day? Well, now we're heading over towards the raft. We're entering the raft and we're being pushed out into the river. And you can immediately feel the force of the current that tugs and pulls and pushes on the raft. And there's 2 more rafts starting at the same time as us. So there's a group of 3 of us going down the river together. And after perhaps 15 or 20 minutes of fiddling around, our leader starts to initiate some games or activities. And the first thing he does, he starts to splash water at one of the other rafts. And of course they answer back. So we find ourselves in this water fight in the middle of the river. And when we're all engaged in that, our leader starts to sing. A little team chant, if you wish. And when we're all splashing water and singing together, he also starts to add certain movements. So now we find ourselves in this raft, in a water fight, singing together, and also doing a little dance routine, you know, to the best of our abilities. I am not much of a dancer, as you just saw. But so we've gone from being a group to being a team. And we did that by doing these kind of engaging activities. At first, I must admit, I was very skeptic towards these games and activities. But as I started to engage in them more and more, you know, splashing water and singing together with my teammates, I realized something, that we were starting to come together as a team. So going from a group to a team with a common goal. During these water fights and singing classes, we had to switch places a lot in the raft. You see, there's different roles that you need to fill in order to go down a river safely and have fun while doing it. And this also requires active participation. You see, someone decides to sit out their part, it's going to come back and hurt the whole team. For example, if the two people, there's one on each side in the raft, that makes sure that the pace is even on both sides, would stop doing that. One side would start to go faster because it's a race and we're going to win. The other side would go, nah, let's go take it slow and enjoy the ride downriver. And when that happens, or if that happens, the raft will turn. And if the raft turns when you're going into a wave, it will flip and you will lose the whole team to the river. Similarly, if the person on the lookout doesn't really warn the team in time of a danger, say a rock or a cliff, they won't have time to get inside the raft and buckle down, and you will lose a member or two to the river. So having the right competence at the right place in the raft is crucial. And I mentioned in the beginning that I was a little worried about the young teen. Would he or she be able to be strong enough, to paddle the whole day? Well, no need to worry anymore, because I ended up being the muscle. And this is quite ironic, because I never hit the gym, and I don't have any muscles. I just happen to be quite tall, and that's it. But then again, compared to a 14-year-old, perhaps I might still be considered to be strong. So now we're on the way, and we have become a team. And we've managed to use the diversity that we have to the best of our strengths. We're all engaged in what we're doing. And we have the right competence at the right place. So now we are really ready to actually, accept the challenge of the river. So we're going into the first wave, and I'm really excited. But all of a sudden, I feel this force. And it pulls me out of the raft, and I'm being thrown into the 3 degrees cold water. I'm tumbling around for a while, and I really didn't understand what was happening. But as I mentioned before, we managed to flip the raft back on its right keel, climb on board, and continue our journey down the river. And after the initial shock had left me from this crash, I was really thrilled. I was filled with adrenaline and really pumped to take on the river together with this team. Not because of the crash, but we as a group had handled this potential catastrophe together. I now had complete trust in my teammates, in our leader, in myself, and in our capability to conquer the river together as a group. The feeling of nervousness or uneasiness, it was blown away. So we'd gone from a group to a team. Now we were transforming into a high-performing team instead. And let me tell you, after this crash, we had 3 absolute amazing hours of rafting. We're going through waves and rapids, avoiding rocks and crashes. We even went through a mini maelstrom, like one of those swirly things when you empty the bathtub, one of those things. We actually, after 3 or 4 hours, when we stepped on shore again, the first one to say something was actually my fiancée. And she blurted out something along the lines with, "Wow, this was so much fun. Let's do it again." She was literally bouncing with energy. And she hates activities that involves any kind of water. We had such a good time that day that we decided to meet up later for dinner. And we also invited our leader to come along. And during that dinner, he explained 2 things to us. The first one was that the crash that we had during our adventure that day had been completely intentional from his side. But rather than telling us before what we were about to experience, he decided to have trust and confidence in our team to handle it. And not only did we handle it, we actually came out stronger on the other side. The second thing he told us was how you grade a river based on how tough it is in terms of rafting. And we had just gone through a level 5 river on a 6th grade scale. And to give you all some context on how tough that actually is, Wikipedia states that a level 5 river requires full mastery of rafting. None of us had ever set foot in a raft before, and we just pulled this off. and having a great time doing it. And one of the major reasons for that day being so good was our leadership and the leadership style that he used. How he managed to mold us in a tight working team. And he did that by making sure that we used the diversity in our team as a strength. He managed to install an atmosphere of engagement. And engagement breeds trust as a result. He made sure that we had the right competence at the right place at all times in the raft. And he managed to install trust between the team members. It is a leadership that I find very inspiring. And it is also leadership that I've experienced in my professional life. Today, I am very happy to be in the team that I am. Because I can feel and I experience the same type of leadership here at Volvo like I did that day on the river in Peru. Today, we are a group of 5 in my team. 5 different individuals with different backgrounds. That we have found our way of communication and our way of working together. We have managed to harness our previous experiences, both within Volvo Group, but also outside Volvo Group. And that is one of our key strengths today. Today, I have absolute trust in my team and in our capability to perform. And trust is perhaps the hardest of the 4 themes that I've discussed here today to affect in a team. But one of the best ways you all as leaders can do that is by leading by example. Always show that you trust and have confidence in your employees. Don't micromanage, but always engage in the work and in what they're doing. Our leader today in my group, she always promotes engagement. Letting us put time aside to be involved in activities that we really want to be involved in, like a Volvo Group Talk, for example, or engaging in understanding more of the business, meeting customers and talking to dealers when given the chance. But we also engage in each other, going on a 2-day conference or cooking dinner one night together, or perhaps Christmas stuff together. And they might seem like ordinary small things, but they really do promote engagement in each other, in the team, as well as in our business. And the most inspiring leadership for me as a young millennial is when there is a joint responsibility in the team for the performance. When you manage to share the burden of leadership and responsibility in the team, it allows the leader to look up, look downriver, to adapt to the twists, turns, and currents of the river, and to truly plan ahead for the future. That is a leadership for which I like to work. Thank you very much.